What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're breaking down Andor episode 5. I have to say, while I really enjoyed Andor episode 4 with all the Star Wars Easter eggs, episode 5 in my opinion was better. Although it didn't have the same Star Warsy element to it, I found myself more immersed in the story with some intense moments. It continued to focus heavily on character development. It really paints the picture in the way that some of these characters' stories are going to play out, but more on that later. And we find out more about what makes this group of rebels tick. We find out some of their motivations to really risk their lives being there, which brings more of a feeling into the story. We didn't get everything we probably wanted from the episode, and I feel it would have been better if we spent more time with Mon Mothma and Luthen in this one, but I have a feeling the best is yet to come. It was a solid installment which continued to develop the characters involved, and seemingly sets us up nicely for episode 6. Where I suspect we'll be getting much more action. After all, each 3 episodes is telling its own little story, as Tony Gilroy said. So next episode will be the end of the story with the rebellion taking on the Imperial Armory, I suspect. There could be a surprise or two in store for us soon, with the introduction of either Saul Guerrera, or even Bail Organa, or Director Krennic. Galen Erso. We've got a bit to go through today, so sit back and relax. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. So we start the episode off with Cyril Khan, the former officer who's now in his mother's house, where his mother really tries to console her son, but also pushed to find out where his future lies, what are his motivations, what's he got lined up next. Really acting as a caring mother who's concerned for her son at the end of the day after taking such a big L with Cassian and losing his job. His mum does mention calling Uncle Harlow to try and find someone to take Cyril on in a new job. I suspect Uncle Harlow could be someone tied in with the Empire in some regards, which I think would be a great step forward for Cyril if he could land himself the job. I've often speculated where Cyril's journey could go from here. Will he join the rebellion as he doesn't like what the Empire's done to his planet and to his career, or will he pursue Cassian in a bid to prove his worth and right his wrongs? Well, it seems we have the answer in this episode, as towards the end of the show we see Cyril looking at a hologram of Cassian, almost like he's analysing the man he's about to go on a hunt for. We find Cassian in the rebel group looking at the Skystone Kyber crystal around his neck. The day of the mission is coming closer and closer, and scrutiny on Cassian from the other rebels is now increasing. This mission is effectively a suicide mission, and they have every right not to trust a stranger from the outside who turns up at the last moment and now has their lives in his hands. We move forwards to what is unfortunately the only real amount of time we get with Mon Mothma in the show. Sitting at the dinner table, she's talking to Perrin, her husband, and the relationship between the pair seems to be as frosty as ever, with Perrin this time seemingly standing off more. It looks as though the dinner party has already come and gone, so it doesn't look like that's something that we're going to see in the show, but I guess it didn't go down too well in Perrin's opinion, hence the clear strain between the two. One moment which really sets the two characters apart for me is when Perrin informs Mon Mothma that her driver's here. When Mon tells Perrin his name's Cloris, and he knows his name, showing us that Perrin doesn't really care for the usual folk, in the same way Mothma does. To Perrin he's just a driver and nothing more, but to Mon Mothma he's Cloris, a person. I'm really starting to see some big similarities actually between Mon Mothma's personality and that of Princess Leia's. Perhaps spending time with Mon Mothma through the years really helped to shape the leader Leia is to become. We meet what could be Mon Mothma's daughter or stepdaughter when Nida enters the room. We have it confirmed that Perrin is indeed her father, so it's quite possible that Mon is her biological mother, or at least her stepmother for a period of time. The rebels make their final preparations before they undertake their mission at the Imperial Armory, when it comes to light that they don't actually know how to input the weight on the ship that they're planning to escape on. This comes to light when Cassian is asked how to do it. This is the first time we see Cassian take some kind of charge within the rebellion, when he tells Val he will be piloting the ship. As his skin's on the line as well, he'd rather take the responsibility to know it will be done properly than to die leaving it to someone who doesn't know what they're really doing. His actions are firmly to protect himself first and foremost, however we begin to see him take a lead on something. We also see Cassian giving advice in this episode to the rebels as he's being paid to listen to and follow orders, which I believe he feels comfortable enough to do now as he's had time to really assess the situation and the dynamic within the group. One of the most interesting aspects of this show is seeing how the Empire works from within, and in this episode we get that, but also with a spin on it. We see it following a traitor, someone who works for the Empire, but over time has lost his way with him, similar to what we saw with Tala in the Kenobi series. This guy is now preparing for the operation to go down with the Imperial side, ensuring the crew present is kept to a minimal, whilst also not drawing suspicions to his intentions, as he makes the officers believe it's actually their wishes not to work that day and he's doing them a favour, so they can watch the event called the Eye, which is that astronomical event which takes place every so often, which we know is the event the rebels are counting on to happen for their escape to be successful. A TIE fighter flies past the group very close to ground level, which was a pretty cool moment. To just see the absolute power of the TIE relevant to pedestrians on the ground was a cool take, but also a great piece of cinematography. Later that night, the group are around a campfire, which is the night before the heist, where they raise a cheers to the rebellion. I think this is the first time we've heard them go by that name themselves, as Den, one of the members of the group, takes a blade to Cassian's throat and snatches the kyber crystal from around his neck, questioning why a man brings treasure to a robbery, questioning why they know so little about Clem and his reasons for being there, before Cassian comes out to reveal the truth that he's being paid in a bid to put an end to all the suspicions once and for all. If they're going to do this job, he needs to know he's not going to be stabbed in the back during the process. A ship spotted in the distance which disrupts the conflict before it's revealed that it's off to the garrison. This ship is a Lambda class shuttle, probably bringing the engineer from Coruscant, which is what the Imperial base on Aldhani has been preparing days for. This could be Galen Erso. He is classed as a scientist, but perhaps also an engineer. Back in Rogue One, Krennic did say that he's a man of many talents. To close the episode out, we return to Luthen's gallery to find a man very different to where we saw him during episode 4. This man looks a nervous wreck. He really doesn't look the same. He looks haggard, he looks tired. He's trying to get in touch with what seems to be Val, but with no success as they've now left camp and they're now underway on their mission. The shop assistant tries to calm Luthen and tells him to clean some coins if he really wants to be useful, really to take his mind away from things. She tells Luthen that if it all goes wrong, that Val is the only one that can be traced back, which continues to make me think she is Luthen's daughter, to have that kind of trace there. When Luthen tells the assistant that the thief Andor can also be traced back, that he wasn't careful enough when he was bringing him on. The final conversation between the pair before the lights go out and the credits roll is one that really hits home the point of how early on in the days the rebellion this is, and how game changing it is for the galaxy with the chain of events that comes to follow if this heist pays off. The assistant said, "It'll all be over this time tomorrow," and Luthen replies, "Or we'll just be starting." I think episode 5 really served as the build up to what's to come in episode 6. In episode 6 I expect we'll spend more time of the episode seeing the heist, maybe even the whole episode. Whether that would be successful or not, I would go as far to say as it might not be successful. It will lead to the rebels maybe being captured or left in a sticky situation, and that would be a great time for Luthen to then get in contact with Saul Guerrera for assistance. To see him come in kind of save the day would be pretty badass, which I think would also make sense if Val is Luthen's daughter, as it would be in a bid to save her as well. I hope we'll finally get to see Mon Mothma in the Senate, which would really open the doors to the possibilities of other characters appearing or showing up that could really make sense in this story, such as Bail Organa, Masamida, or even Sly Moore. That'd be pretty cool. And when we really think about it, there's a whole host of stuff we haven't actually even seen from the trailer yet. And I don't think they give away too much with the trailer. They usually just give away the first part of a series with little bits here and there. But we haven't seen that Star Destroyer fly over the rebels just yet. That looks like it'll probably be coming in episode 5, as I don't think we're going to spend too much more time on this planet. And then we haven't seen the clone troopers marching through the streets. I don't know where that is. That could be once they are inside the Imperial base, or that does kind of to the background for me look like Ferrix. So I did actually think originally it was going to be a flashback, but now I'm in the camp of that it's actually in present time, which does raise more questions. Why are there so many clone troopers in phase 2 armor in 5 BBY? That should all be phased out for the most part by now, if not all of it. We haven't seen Mon Mothma in Imperial Senate, which would open us up to a whole host of new characters, potentially existing characters returning. That would be a really cool scene. We've also got some more scenes to come in Luthen's workshop, it seems, as well. If you look at the trailer, there's footage in that trailer from Luthen's workshop that we haven't seen yet, such as the piece where we see the Keldor mask in a better angle. So there's plenty to look forward to still. Really cool if we saw the clone troopers in episode 5 and even the Imperial Senate as well. Let me know what you guys think on episode 5 down below, and post your predictions on where you think we'll go in episode 6. Overall, it was a good solid episode. It was a little bit on the slower side, like 1 to 3, but again, I get they're trying to build a story. We've got 12 episodes, we've got a way to go still. I think things are really going to start heating up from next week. Can't wait to watch it with you guys. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. I'll catch you all in the next one, and may the Force be with you.